up, guys? My name is Potato, bringing you another Rift gameplay video. I have two guests in this video. I have a good friend of mine, Robert.
Hello.
And you guys all know Puddles.
No, I'm Potato.
Apparently everybody's trying to be Potato lately. First Ryan steals my intro, and apparently Puddles now wants to be a Potato. From what you guys can see on the screen, just so I can explain this real quick, I'm on top of this really, really tall bridge, and I have to kill those things down below. My buddy Omni, who's also a very active member on the Minecraft server, he says that it's impossible to make this jump, but I have my charge skill, and I think I can ambush that lady right there. So either this is going to be really awesome or really funny.
It's gonna be really awesome either way.
Oh!
That didn't sound good.
Well, it worked at first. Like, I charged at her, like, when I was in the middle of the air, but then as soon as my feet touched the ground, I took all the fall damage. Okay, well, oh well. I'll just walk back there. So anyways, the point of this video is that Robert has played WoW for a very long time.
4 years.
There you go, 4 years. That's a very long time, and it's been out for 6, right? So what did you join? You joined in BC?
No, I joined at Classic, was at launch, but I quit right before BC came out because I wasn't all too excited, and then I joined back maybe a year later.
Oh, okay. So you've played like a total of 4 years total.
Yeah. I played all the expansions. I just wasn't there at the very, very end of Classic.
Ah, okay. Well, you have made a pretty drastic switch. I think much more drastic than me and Puddles did after playing Rift. I let you come over and play it for, I don't know, probably 3-4 hours.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
Yeah, and you bought it, what, a day and a half later?
A day and a half later, yeah.
Yeah, after playing WoW for so long and everything like that. You're still playing WoW though, yes?
I still have my account active, and I'm trying to decide if I'm going to keep it active or switch over to Rift. But after playing Rift, it was just like, I'm sure you said it before, it's very similar to WoW in every aspect, but everything is new as well. So you have like a refreshing breath of air coming from WoW, what you've been playing, and you know, day in and day out. And pretty much WoW, once you get max level, yeah, they constantly add content, but you log in, you know what you're going to do every day. You've been doing this, at least I've been doing this for 4 years. So it's kind of like, I don't know. And they use a lot of recycling with mob models and stuff, where if you go to Rift, all the models look amazingly good, and everything is new. So you don't see the same ghost that you see at level 10 in WoW at level 85.
That's true. Like, all their elementals and stuff, they all look exactly the same.
Yeah, and then they'll make one model, and then they'll use that new updated model for every type of elemental for the next 2 years.
Yeah. And actually, people that are, you guys are only watching my screen. These are what the water elementals look like. They're a little bit more gooey and flowy instead of rock robots. Oh, got both of them. So yeah, sorry, I'm playing, and it gets distracting. So Terry, what are some of the biggest things that you've noticed actually between WoW and this game? Like, what has grabbed your attention the most, aside from Rifts, because that's kind of a, that's a given.
That was the big one.
Oh.
The whole Rift thing.
I will say, not to cut Terry off, but I will say, I'm fairly new. I'm really new to Rift. So I don't really know exactly how the Rift systems work. All I know is that first day I got ass raped by an invasion. I don't know what the fuck those are, but they pissed me off. But one thing that I like about Rift is the soul system, or whatever, the spec system, whatever you want to call it, is the fact that no two characters are the same. Where in WoW, if you play a druid, you're either going to be Resto or Feral, pretty much. And if you're Resto or Feral, you're going to have the same spec as everyone else on the server, because it's that one best spec that everybody uses.
It's proven and true that, this spec is, key.
Yeah. And that sucks to have to be locked into one certain spec to be, top DPS or to even try to compete with things. Or in like an arena, if you don't have these talents, you have pretty much a 50% chance that you're gonna lose.
Mm-hmm.
And if you somehow do win, you're not gonna be able to get you know to the higher brackets because you're not playing with the right spec.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, WoW is very based on if you do not have this in this slot, then you're basically
You
capped
suck.
here. Yeah, you know.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make this like a rant on WoW because WoW
Definitely not.
it's an amazing game. It still
It's
is.
yep.
They constantly put content out for it. But I think what drew me to Rift, at least to buy it and try it out, is the fact that it's a new MMO, and coming from playing for so long, I wanted to give it a shot, and it
Mm-hmm.
was very familiar. I didn't have to relearn everything, and it has that casual appeal to get you in like WoW does. It's very easy. You can pick it up and play, especially if you come from WoW. You have to learn a few things about the game, but it plays the same. Keybinds are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Combat's the same. I don't know. It's just
It's what Rift is like the next step. It's like going from EverQuest to Warcraft. That's what Warcraft did,
Mm-hmm.
and now this is WoW to Rift. It's
It's
as of
basically the
now,
next
it's
step
very
in
similar, but it's improved too.
right, and it's only going to get better with expansions and
Right.
updates.
And yeah, it's still a
yeah,
baby right now, so there's plenty of room for more.
yeah. And when WoW first came out, I don't know if you guys know or remember, but when WoW first came out, it was very hardcore. Like you pretty much played it, you grinded to your level 60, and then there was no queuing system of any sort. There was no cross server battlegrounds. There was none of that,
Right.
and it was very just you get 60. And at one point, I mean, there was PvP, but there was not even battlegrounds in it, and so it was pretty much get 60, go do dungeons, grind for gear, that sort of thing. And what Rift is doing is Rift takes everything that WoW has improved on over the years and brings it right at launch.
Right. It's already there right
Yeah.
out the gate.
But I mean, WoW's come a long way, but what WoW's trying to do, WoW's trying to become the ultra casual MMO for everyone to get into. Everyone can play it. It's super simple because I mean, I leveled a rogue back in classic, and now leveling a rogue, you get totally new abilities. Everything is all switched around. So right at level 10, you already know how to play a rogue. As before, you'd have to get 60 to even try to figure out how to play in-game content.
Yep.
They're just making WoW very, very casual for people, and it's not a bad thing. It's not. It's just I think that they've learned that over the years that that's how to get a bigger audience, and that's how to make a transition for someone who hasn't played an MMO be more pick up and play. And I guess what I'm trying to say is since Rift already has all that, I mean, if you come from WoW, even if you don't come from WoW, if all you got to do is learn the basics, and it's very easy to get into. And I'm just I love the fact that it actually looks good. I feel like I'm actually playing a video game and not a cartoon anime with
See, I
orcs.
like the way Warcraft looks, especially the newer areas with the
Yeah,
sharper
Cataclysm
textures,
really
but
they brought it to the next level.
it is very stylized and
Mm-hmm.
it does show its age in a lot of places, especially the earlier levels.
And the earlier models too. They
Yeah.
haven't even updated any of them.
Yeah, but I think the thing with WoW is they did for the Cataclysm. They did graphically. They did take a step forward, but
Mhm.
their big selling point was we updated the water. And I mean, with a game like that, it's hard for them to update a game that's already out, even with expansions. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not much you can really do because you have to, without
Mm-hmm.
changing the code around. And then plus, even if they did do that, they have to battle the fact that okay, now people have to upgrade PCs to play that, and they might lose subscribers.
Well, the thing that I really like about Rift that I'm not sure if you guys have noticed inside of the settings under video or advanced video, there's an actual checkbox for low quality renderer, and it requires a restart of the client. But I think that's pretty much for people who have like just bad
Right, the lower
computers.
end.
Right. So the Rift has great looking graphics, and it still has that option for the low res. So
Yeah, it
which
really
is which is
is
good.
very accessible as far as changing up your interface or your video settings and all that. There's a lot of options you can do without having to go and download extra stuff for it.
Yeah, and one thing about Rift is it had a very impressive launch for for an MMO. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I didn't read anything about any server problems, and I did read that when there was a problem with the game, a bug, they fixed it like next day, a couple days later. So they're very on top of their stuff right now. I mean, they're behind their game. They didn't just release it and say let's cash in, whatever. So it's good to see that they're actually trying to battle. But maybe not try to take number one spot, but battle for one of the better MMOs out there.
Right.
And I think they're succeeding too. Everybody that I've talked to who's playing Rift or is interested in Rift, uh, they either love it or they go and buy it, and then I ask them in a day or two, and they're like, "Yes, it's a fantastic game." You know.
I want this game.
Mm-hmm. That's why I really wanted to get you hands on with it before instead of just like explaining.
No, well, because I mean, we had the discussion, and I was very skeptical about it before
Mm-hmm.
playing it. And my thing is, I've played everywhere from free MMOs to things that said, oh, the WoW killer, or they were there are copies of WoW. Problem is, if you're gonna make a copy of WoW, do it well. And I thought, Rift was gonna be another shitty copy of WoW that played clunky or whatever. And it holds up, and it's just what my big thing that's pretty much make or break that's going to make me subscribe to this game or not. I mean, I'm trying to level up and see higher content and see what else there is out there, but it's the soul system. The fact that they put so much into that and there's so many routes you can go. It's very impressive.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. All the customization and everything like that, even with character models, is pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I didn't get to play the Guardian. Is it Guardians? I believe I didn't get to play the Guardian side because you guys are pretty much my only group of friends that played. Everyone else is still playing WoW,
Right.
so I wanted to play with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But only complaint. I mean, I don't care that there's only three races. The fact that they got a lot of blue and purple people. I just
You got a
come
problem
on.
with blue and
Yeah,
purple.
there is.
You got a problem with blue and purple?
My car's purple. I have nothing wrong with it, but it's just I kind of want to make myself a blue night elf or like a different shade. It's just
Well, I don't know about the skinny ones, but I know you can be blue with the big guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
The big guys though, like it's just funny because their hairstyles are just like they're broed out. So it's like, am I gonna be this guy? I'm gonna have a faux hawk.
Am I
I'm
gonna
be
have a
fucking
faux
shit up.
hawk or a
Yeah.
mohawk, or
Yeah.
am I gonna be bald or?
So
What
like
kind of hawk
I was
do I
telling
want?
Terry, I went with the logical reason, and I was still, a giant blue person, but I made an Amazon chick like I told you. She's purple and she's got a white afro. So to me, you see that, oh shit, that's a tank right there.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes in mind.
Damn.
Damn.
Oh. Yeah, I was sold on the just the fact that they had Bard. 'Cause when I hear Bard in an MMO, that's like one of my favorite classes right there. I like support classes. Well, recently I'm playing pretty much anything, but support I love, and when it comes in the form of a Bard, I gotta go for it.
Yeah, that's another thing you don't see in very many MMOs is support classes. Like they'll they'll have CC classes or they'll consider them support. You don't see a class that's dedicated to giving buffs or
Yeah,
whatever in
yeah.
raids.
It's always about making the enemy weaker and not your friends stronger, which
And
I
that
guess
just
that way works, but still.
that goes to show that when they do, I don't know if they do at the moment, but when they actually have raiding content in, that's there's going to be so many different combinations of group comps that you can go to try to succeed in these raids, as opposed to WoW, you need two tanks, five healers, and then the
Right,
rest
right.
fill with DPS.
Yep.
So it's,
In this game, there's going to be a much more mixed bag.
yeah.
It really is going to be boiled down to I need a tank. I don't care what soul you are, just as long as you can tank.
Yeah, and that's the thing that like I'm Pally. That's basically the tank. Like if you want a shit ton of armor and tank abilities and stuff, Pally's probably the route you want to go. But then you have your other two souls that you can kind of deal with. Like I've seen people that do Pally with Reaver and Void Knight, which was my original choice. But now I switched to Warlord because Warlord has buffs that actually stack onto other skills and buffs that I get with Reaver and Pally. So I'll be able to have like a ton of armor you know, or people who want Void Knight to kind of mitigate spell damage, and there's like a whole bunch of different combinations, and even the fact that Bill has been talking about how cleric tanks are amazing. And rogue tanks are amazing. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, that's the thing that that surprises me most, is that cleric and rogue. Rogue is usually known as being a class that wears light armor, you know, leather or something like that. Someone who's very nimble but doesn't have a lot of armor, you know, but he does a lot of damage and he does it quickly. Cleric, you know, you think cleric, okay, magic users, someone who wears robes and can't take damage for shit, but they can heal and buff and everything like that. Both of those classes can be tanks. Actually, Omni Priest is a cleric tank. I forgot that he was a cleric tank, but yeah, he's right next to me, and he's a cleric tank, and he has a weird looking S&M mask on right now. It's like a sad face. Oh, guys, once you see this video, it's funny. But yeah, the fact that every class can be a tank, and even mages can be tanks, but I haven't seen any of those yet. So that's interesting.
They put a lot of thought into just the different classes you can make and be. And when you think about it, I mean, there's been, in other games, and not even in other games, just there's been talk of, you know, like a warrior that was also a caster at the same time, you know, and you got to think out of the norm, which is, wow, okay, you're a warrior, you use a shield and a sword or a two-hander, and that's it.
Yep.
And this game lets you
known to use magic.
Yeah, it lets you combine them and make some, you know, pretty amazing characters. You definitely can be more unique than you can in a lot of MMOs out there. And like me coming in, I wanted to play something that was familiar. I like playing a tank class, so in WoW I play a Blood Death Knight tank. And I was reading up, and I said, okay, well, Reaver is very similar to Blood Death Knight. And I also found out that later, after you hit 20 and up, you can actually get a spell that heals you. Your dots heal you. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. And so I went with something familiar, and I put Pally as my off-spec or whatever, my secondary. And so I still do have some Paladin moves, and it's just... what I'm interested to see is at level 50, because it's already given you a lot of abilities. At level 50, how many abilities you're going to have and how you use them all together. As opposed to, okay, I'm a rogue and WoW, I have 10 abilities, and I'm going to use these 4 for damage, these 3 for crowd control, and these 2 for, vanish and running away. Where I have Paladin abilities and Reaver abilities, so it's balancing them out, which I want to use in a fight and what's going to hold the most aggro, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting at max level, seeing how people figure out their setups.
And coming in, I mean, as soon as I started reading up and watching videos, first thing that came to my mind is this game is going to be extremely overpowered. There's going to be one combination that nothing's going to be able to beat. And I was watching, my main concern is I'm a big PvPer, so I was watching a lot of PvP videos, and what I'm hearing is the way that they set them up and the way that there's so many different types of combinations out there, it actually balances out. So,
yeah, it balances itself.
So, and from what I understand, I didn't actually have a chance to play it, but one of the battlegrounds is like Warsong Gulch, but not. You just got to grab the item and hold it, and you accumulate points.
That's the first thing you get into.
The item hurts you over time. So it's really overpowered. I mean, that's a nice twist on it, because you can't get a warrior to have it with 7 healers, and just there's nothing you can do. No matter what, he's going to take a shit ton of damage, and he's going to drop it. So it becomes almost, in a sense, it's like, I don't know if you guys ever played, well, I know you guys have, but your viewers, Halo, any of the Halo games, is oddball, in a sense.
Yeah.
It is exactly oddball, except you die when you hold it.
Except for you're constantly dying.
There's definitely some uniqueness to it. So if you guys are thinking, oh, it's 100% WoW clone, it's not.
A lot of people are still saying it, but then again, those are the people who have never played any other game aside from WoW, and they're, well, you know what, I'm just gonna say it, they're idiots, because they can't, they're slow, closed-minded about things. It's black and white, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If it's an MMO, it's copying WoW, because WoW's been around since the beginning of time.
WoW's been a while since 2002.
The thing is with WoW, it's not just with WoW, it's with any game. If you make a very successful game and they raise the bar, now you're going to have to take what they did and improve on that to
Right.
surpass it. I mean, it's just like with the shooters in Call of Duty. Now that there's a rank system, in almost every game, there has to be some type of reward system to keep the player interested. If you don't
Right.
have some type of reward or XP system, it's kind of like, what am I doing? So it's just, I think in a lot of ways. If you're debating should you go out and spend the money on it, okay, maybe not if money's tight. Maybe if you can test it out somewhere or whatever, or if you can get a good deal on it, like me, I was able to get it for $30.
Or
So
just
to
wait for
me,
them to
I'll
put
have
out
a
a
free
trial.
trial. Yeah, if you can wait that long. I mean, me once Dwight let me dip my fingers in it, I was like, "Fuck, I
Fingers in
need
it.
it.
Done.
I need it."
Once Dwight let me get my fingers in it,
I
man,
mean, yeah, man.
that was
I
it.
fucking sat at his desk. I created a purple guy with green hair, called him Plum Bones. That's Dwight's request. It's done.
Good old plum buns. He's still here too, along with all the characters Terry created too. So,
Got me the same way. You're a
yeah,
drug dealer.
yeah. MMO drug dealer.
Gotta give you a taste.
It's definitely. I mean, like I said, it's definitely a nice switch up from WoW. I can't speak in the long run because obviously I'm only level 19 right now, so I can't
Right.
say what else is out there. But do I regret spending the $30? No, I don't. Am
Would
I
you have
still?
regretted if it was 50? If you paid the full 50?
I would pay full 50 for it. I mean, because the thing is with the game is as you level up more, you're only more interested into it. You only
Yeah,
want to play.
it only gets better.
Yeah, you want to see what other abilities you're going to get. You want to see what else is out there. Um, right now, I don't know how the rest of the world looks. Right now, most of the world has been grassy, plainy areas. I'm kind of on a mountain right now with some trolls. I mean, but the thing is, early on, level 19, they're already making me fight some big old titans, big old
Yep.
trolls. They throw interesting mobs at you too. So I mean, it's enjoyable. It's very enjoyable, especially if you play WoW. If you play WoW, you will find this game enjoyable unless
Yeah,
you are
you'll find
obviously
yourself right at home too because it's not a huge leap from them, and I think that's the way it should be. I don't think MMOs should try to be so unique that you just feel lost. You
yeah.
know, so
I mean, because before WoW, I played I tried to get into Final Fantasy, and that was terrible. No offense to any fans out there, but that was nothing but just mob grinding. And I'm not Asian, and that's too much for me. I can't sit there and grind mobs all day. But from there, I went to Star Wars Galaxies, and that was it was too complex for me. At the time, I think I was like 14, but yeah, it was. I didn't like Star Wars Galaxy, and then from there, I went to City of Heroes. City of Heroes was very good. It had an
I like
amazing
City of Heroes.
customization system. It was a good game. It was just they didn't add enough content at launch, and then when they would roll out content for it, it would be like every 6 months. So they weren't really behind it enough. And then from there, WoW came out, and WoW has just been easy to get into, easy to play,
I think
and
that was probably WoW's biggest like feature that really helped it take off is that it was user friendly. Like people
yeah,
who haven't really had a lot of experience with WoW or MMOs, they could jump into WoW and kind of feel a little bit more at home. Like it wasn't overwhelming.
yeah, and the thing is also it didn't feel so much. It almost felt like an action game in the sense of there's no downtime between attacking. I mean, you click your button, you attack the target, and the target attacks you. There's no like I click and my guy's got to get in a stance, and he's got to swing his sword, and I click another one, I got to wait, and that was my big problem with MMOs. A lot of them had that, and I just felt like I don't know, it just didn't feel fluent to me. And I thought that was gonna be what was Rift's problem was gonna be. I was like, oh, this is not gonna be fluent, especially if it looks good. No way, no, no, no. This is
Right. You
gonna.
can't have it's either one or the other, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm,
and also the UI, the customizable UI is for a WoW player for a WoW. I mean, especially, I mean, with my Death Knight, I don't really need it, but for my Druid, I play a Resto Druid in Arena, so I have my bars customized. I need to know when I need to Cyclone. I don't have to download add-ons. I just go in, I make it how I want it. If I want to have my health bar my whole screen, I make my health bar my whole screen.
Really need to know when I'm dying.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes me, if anything, when I get bored of warrior, I mean, I'm just gonna want to go and I'm interested in playing a cleric. I want to see how clerics play. You know, there's each freaking archetype can have 8 roles or whatever, eight souls. So
yeah.
the customization is, I mean, think of that. Yeah, WoW has what 8 or 9 classes, and each class has 3 trees. But the thing is, like I said, no matter what tree you pick, it's going to be the same as every other shaman or whatever mage druid out there that picks those same trees.
Right. I mean, after you choose your class and everything like that, you're just gonna Google best tank build for Pally,
Yeah,
and then they're
yeah,
gonna give you the list of skills, and you're done. You know, and
yeah.
that's the build. If you have a point in something else, someone's gonna call you a noob, and
hmm
it's just gonna hurt your reputation. You're just gonna be like, man.
In WoW's defense, they did in Cataclysm they did try to bring it back because when Classic WoW came out, like I said, I played a rogue, and I loved combat rogues. I loved the sword. I didn't like sneaking up and having to attack you from the back and having to stun and get behind you. I didn't like that. I just like going in there, dual wielding, and tearing shit up. And in Classic, I could do that, but then at the same time, there could also be um, subtlety rogues and backstabbing rogues and dagger rogues. There could be all these at Classic. But as expansions started coming out, it became okay. Well, if you're gonna raid, you have to be a mutilate, and if you're gonna arena, you have to be shadow step. And it became so much where you're forced into a role that was what made me quit WoW because I was like, I don't want to use daggers. Why should I have to use daggers to stand a chance?
Right,
So I
that's
quit
that's the
Rogue.
thing. Like you can people may say it's like, well, you can use daggers if you want. It's the thing that if you're not using this specific thing, you're gonna just get
Yeah,
rolled on.
it's if you want to play competitively and in-game content, you have no choice. You pick your class, and there's 2 roles, 2 specs for you depending on what you want to do, and that is it. If you don't pick those, then you can't play competitive. You're not going to get invited to raids. You're not going to be at the topping the DPS charts, and people are going to say, "Well, why pick this guy when we can pick this guy who does another 10k DPS over him?"
Mm-hmm.
So it's the fact that Rift is so many options. I like I said, I'm sure at 50 there'll be good specs there. This is going to be the ideal spec for whatever. But I
Right, but
think,
there's so much more room for that. Like,
yeah.
this
So
isn't the best one. It is what I think is
yeah,
compared to the millions of others out there.
and like in Cataclysm, they tried to bring it back and say, well, rogues can be combat now and they can be equal DPS. And yeah, they improved it, but it's still not the same. If I mean, in arena, you want to be mutilate or nothing. If you're combat, you're fucked. You're not gonna kill anybody. I'm sorry. And it's the fact that they cripple you like that. It takes a little bit of fun factor out of the game because, in a sense, if you roll somebody and you're not good at leveling, you don't have multiple characters, and you really like this class, if they make you play a spec that you don't like to play, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to either play their spec to be ideal or play something else to be subpar. So it's
Yeah, you play something to have fun and be subpar and
right.
get your ass rolled on, or you play what they want you to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I want to actually end it here because this video has actually gone on for a little bit of while. So we'll continue this on actually let's try to get a podcast in. There we have like an hour and a half to just fucking talk about it.
Oh, Rift. Oh,
I don't want to make another hour and a half video just talking about Rift because that's gonna bore a lot of people. So,
You get to watch
anyways,
you make sweet jumps, bro.
yeah, I died on that one. Actually,
Next
twice.
week,
I died
Dwight
twice.
makes that jump.
But I got the achievement for making one off of a pipe that Omni showed me. So, anyways, I'll see you guys for Friday on the. Actually, it's my Let's Play Fridays, yeah, for Minecraft, and we're actually going to be talking more about. Actually, going to be announcing how you guys are going to have to enter to get into the build competition for that. So I'll see you guys Friday, and hopefully this video didn't bore every single one of you.